In May, UCSD police arrested 60 student protesters. Annie Rios is the pro bono attorney coordinating their defense.
I accepted the task, not knowing that we'd be here 4 months later.
She says most California students were basically settling with their schools, showing remorse in exchange for lighter punishment. Her brain was racing.
One, can the school prove this? What they're alleging happened, can they prove it? And two, if the students accept responsibility, although it may be easier for them, in the long term, will this open them up to any kind of criminal liability?
She asked if they wanted to fight the charges. All 60 agreed. Dozens more attorneys and faculty members stepped in to help.
They were ready to steamroll them, thinking that they weren't going to have a community behind them.
UCSD responded to interview requests with a written statement. It supports free speech, but calls the May protest an illegal encampment and safety risk. Says the camp denied entry to a fire marshal and a health inspector, and they found some items that could be used as weapons, including a sword and bear spray. They wouldn't comment on individual cases. Rios doesn't think they have enough evidence.
None of it is personal. It's very much a description of group activities. The group was on the lawn. The group refused police instructions. The group.
If a written report is used against a student, a witness has to back it, and the student can choose to cross-examine them. In this case, the witness was a police officer.
Honestly, what went through my mind is this is going to be so hard. This is going to be so incredibly hard. I don't know who in their right mind would choose this.
Nearly all the students did. So she held boot camps.
So what would happen if the witness said this? How do you do a cross-examination? Down to me actually showing video clips of my cousin Vinny.
Max Sklar was among them. They're Jewish, wear a keffiyeh, the Star of David, and a shirt that says, "Not in our name." Like the rest of the students, the school put a hold on Sklar's degree. Fighting the charges would prolong that. But to Sklar, it's a matter of principle.
It's David versus Goliath, and it's a really big giant, but, eventually David won.
They say the arrest report was copy-pasted for all the students, and the witness wasn't the officer who arrested Sklar.
I had actually never seen this guy. He had never seen me.
Sklar says they got him to admit he hadn't even read the report and wasn't a suitable witness.
It was one of those gotcha moments.
Lawyers aren't allowed to speak at student conduct hearings, but they can send messages.
I am losing my mind on the other side of this. I'm caps locking to Max. I can't believe you just got that.
Rio says one officer's allegations were false and bizarre.
The students had sharpened bits of wood into spears, that they had urine in gallons, and saying what I would consider particularly racist things. The Black Panther Party of San Diego was here roving and protecting the students, where then they were accused of teaching the students tactical warfare and chokeholds, as you're posing them as more dangerous than what they were for the purpose of having people fear them.
About a dozen students have gone through the process so far. She says regardless of their charges, they're all getting the same punishment. 1 year academic probation, 15 hours of community service, and a decision-making course that asks questions like, how did you harm the university?
I kind of was just a lot of us were harmed more by seeing their fellow students be arrested.
If the university decides Sklar's answers aren't good enough, they could tell them to redo it. Sklar needs their degree to apply for grad school. They want to become a therapist for incarcerated people. They say the effects of this will linger. Rios agrees.
There are students who have had suicidal ideation. There are students that weren't able to go home because they didn't know how to tell their parents that they had been arrested, and they were too ashamed to return.
She's worried probation will discourage free speech.
They will want to take part in some form of protest here on campus, but will constantly have to consider the effects of what that's going to do to them with the university. And I think that's done on purpose.
Hadaya Anaya is another arrested student. She says including her Palestinian ethnicity on her UCSD application was a risk, but she was accepted.
I was so excited and motivated and able to express a part of me that I've hidden for over 20 years.
Having to prove she's not a threat to the school soured that. But she says she won't stop calling on them to divest from Israel.
My voice will always come back. It's going to be a ringtone in Chancellor Kozla's ears.
She plans to become a lawyer like Rios. First, she needs the school to release her degree. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.